What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to answer, should you single turbo an automatic 335i or 135i, or should you just go the twin turbo route? Now I went single turbo and I've got an automatic, and I'll go through all the pros and the cons. Just before we even go too deep into the video, just like a quick heads up, personally I would recommend upgrading the twins if you want to stay automatic. I am going to go manual, but I have been driving this car for more than a year with the automatic gearbox and the big turbo, so I do have some experience in driving the car as it is now. Automatic I think is and will always be faster. No human can shift like a computer can, but there are some drawbacks, and that's exactly what we are going to go through today. Normally I would make a video driving the car and everything, but unfortunately we've got MOSFETs. I think first thing to keep in mind when you've got a single turbo is, remember, now you've got one really big turbo you have to spin. Before it spools up, it technically has negative pressure, which means the car has less power than it would have had if it didn't have a turbo, because this is an obstruction before it starts spinning properly. So the idea is to get that thing spinning as fast as possible. How do you get it to spin higher? Well, by getting higher in the revs. The higher your car revs, the more exhaust gases it will produce, and the faster the turbo will spin. Now the problem with an automatic is you've got no clutch. So when you're doing a launch, for instance, in an automatic, you put your one foot on the brake, one foot on the petrol, and then you just hold it and it should build boost. Now with the twin turbos, it builds more than enough boost. Like this, you can even get the tires loose if you brake boosted with the twins. The problem with the single is, while brake boosting, it will maybe go to like 2000 RPM. That's not enough to get this big thing spinning. So you have to get anti-lag and all sorts of extra stuff. Now anti-lag does help this problem, like rolling races and that with the anti-lag and the automatic. I think you'll beat the manual any day of the week, because like you can go up to like 4.5, 5000 RPM, hold the anti-lag, go, and then every gear after that on the roll, you're just going to shift much quicker than any manual. My problem is from the launch. So I do have anti-lag on this car, but even with the anti-lag, I can get the turbo spooling properly enough with just brake boosting and anti-lag standing still. I just can't get it spinning enough. It builds a bit, but not enough. So as soon as you're off the line, the power dips off, and then I have to get it back into the power band, which is not ideal. Then another thing, if you've ever heard a single turbo 335i, or for that matter any 6-cylinder big turbo car, you know it sounds freaking awesome. Now if you've ever driven a manual big turbo car, you know every time you shift gears it will sound phenomenal. You'll hear the blow off or the stutter on the turbo. It just sounds so much better. The problem with the automatic is you don't hear that between the gears, so you lose a bit of that character of the single turbo when you drive an automatic. If you're just cruising along, it will shift very early in the gears, and even if you floor it in between the gears, you don't even hear the blower valve or the turbo. Well, you hear the turbo, you hear the wastegate open, so you can hear it suck and scream and everything, but you don't hear that turbo blow off in between. If you want to go for an automatic, because it is technically faster, I wouldn't go for a really big turbo. See, I've got a 67mm turbo on this thing, and like I said, it struggles to spool up. But if you go for a smaller turbo with a really small exhaust housing, not really small but smaller, so this is a 67 in the front and a 67 turbine with an AR83 housing in the back. So this is a big turbine housing for top end power. Now if you want to go for automatic, I would go for a smaller exhaust housing so it can spool up a lot faster, and probably a smaller compressor as well. So I think a good recommendation if you're going for an automatic is like a 6262, something like that, with a small quick spooling exhaust housing. Then the automatic is probably better because it's going to be faster through the gears. You should be able, with the anti-lag and the brake boosting, to get the thing to spool up and everything. If you're going for a bigger turbo with a big exhaust housing, I would not go for an automatic. I would manual it with the turbo, because as I've learned, the bigger turbos, they're not going to spool from the line with an automatic box, not even with anti-lag. Like I said, I do have anti-lag. It won't spool this thing properly from standstill. If I'm on the road, it spools it proper, like third, fourth gear, hold it on the anti-lag, let it go. This thing puts you in your seat. It's just from the line, automatic. So I hope this video is informative and it helps some people decide whether they should single turbo the automatic. If I'm brutally honest, I think if you've got an automatic 335i and you don't want to make it manual, just upgrade the twins. Don't go single turbo. Like, I wouldn't go single.